Welcome to my TLC Lastest Update channel. Okay, here's a more human-sounding rewrite of that text. Episode 10 of Season 18 starts with this weird feeling that's hard to shake. It's not a screaming match or some over-the-top music trying to make you cry. It's more like this. Really intense. Quiet, like things have been crazy for years and now it's finally calmed down. And that's when Janelle Brown just stops trying to get everyone to see her worth. She's not explaining, arguing, or defending herself for once. She's just being real, and it changes everything. The episode takes its time. Because it doesn't need to rush, the truth finally shows up, but it doesn't barge in. It just chills out until everyone has to deal with it. Right away, you can tell. Something's different with Janelle. She's calmer, more chill. Almost distant, but not in a mean way. It's the calm you get after you've made a big decision. She's done fighting with herself. For ages, Janelle was the practical one, the stable one. She handled the money, the schedules, all the grown-up stuff and kept her feelings to herself. People called her independent, logical, and easy to deal with. But no one really noticed how much she was dealing with on the inside. In this episode, that silence finally says something. She's not angry. She's not desperate. She's just clear, and that's scary because you can't really argue with it. Janelle spent years trying to tell them what she needed in a way they'd get. She tried being logical, compromising, and patient. She thought if she was reasonable, things would be fair. But episode 10 makes it super clear. Janelle's been talking clearly all along. The problem wasn't her, it was them not bothering to listen. There's a moment early on where you can see it in her eyes. She's not looking around for approval or waiting for Kody to react. She knows who she is and she's done trying to be someone else to fit into a family that isn't there anymore. This isn't the start of her leaving. It's when she realizes she already has. The episode is so powerful because of the contrast. Janelle's down to earth, while Kody and Robyn are still acting like they're in a play. Kody seems annoyed, but not like he's thinking about his part. His body language says a lot more than his words. He talks like he's been wronged, like things happened to him instead of because of him. He's being defensive like always. Robyn seems confused, or at least wants you to think she is. She acts like she doesn't get how things got this bad, but everyone watching knows the story. It's been going on for years, and there's proof suddenly. You can't ignore how different the truth is from what they're saying. The episode doesn't point fingers. It just shows what's happening. What's interesting about this first session is that Janelle doesn't bring a list of complaints or make big statements. She doesn't need to. Her being calm and confident is enough. When she talks about the family, money, how much she's put into it, she's spot on. She doesn't exaggerate or make things dramatic. She just says what happened without being scared. That's when you realize Janelle's not trying to win. She's moving on. She knows what happened. She accepts what is, and she's not going to live in a fantasy that'll never happen. For the viewers, it's a big deal. It's not some loud, empowering moment. It's a quiet freedom, and that's more powerful than any fight. As they talk, things get awkward, not just for the family, but for us, too. This isn't some dramatic fight you can just brush off. It's a slow realization that the system messed up someone who gave it their all. Janelle's voice doesn't shake. She knows what she's saying. And more importantly, what she's done putting up with. She's not asking Kody to change. She's not asking Robyn to get it. She's not asking for things to be fair anymore. She's over it. And that's what makes this moment so powerful and final. This is when the idea of the family being together crumbles for good. Not because someone yelled, but because someone stopped trying. Janelle being calm shows everything the drama was hiding. Her peace shows how not peaceful they are. Her accepting things forces a question no one wants to answer. What happens when the person holding everything together decides to let go? The answer starts now. Maybe the saddest thing about this session is how gentle it is. There's no door slamming, no dramatic exit, just a quiet understanding that things will never be the same. And sometimes that's worse than any fight, because when someone leaves quietly, it means they've already dealt with it. They've already moved on. They're done in their head, in their heart, and every other way. All that's left is denial. As this first session ends, one thing's for sure, Janelle has moved on. And she's not going back, not because she's angry, not because she wants revenge, but because she respects herself. Episode 10 of Season 18 doesn't start with a bang, it starts with someone waking up. And once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. This is where things get real, and from now on, Sister Wives isn't about trying to hold on, it's about what happens when someone finally lets go. Okay, here's a rewritten version of the text, trying to make it sound more like a person wrote it and avoiding the banned words. This episode? It's about reality finally sinking in for Janelle, and she's not letting it go. Things get even slower here, not because nothing's going on, but because everything important is happening underneath the surface. In this session, Janelle doesn't raise her voice, doesn't make accusations, doesn't blow up. But she shares the most truthful and harshest insights of the whole thing. It's the moment when you, watching, realize something cold. Janelle's got the proof and she doesn't even have to show it. The first thing you notice is Janelle's voice. She's so careful, so thoughtful, almost soothing, but don't think that means she's weak. This calm comes from being unheard for years, for ages. Janelle was the wife who took care of the hard stuff, money stuff, sacrifices. She believed in the family plan, even when it didn't help her that much. She thought if she helped, she'd be secure later. But here, she says, quietly, that it didn't work out that way, and suddenly, it clicks. This wasn't just a slip-up. It was how things always were. When Janelle talks about money, things get real. Money doesn't lie. You can argue about feelings. You can wonder about what people meant. But numbers? They tell the truth, even when people don't want to. Janelle doesn't say anyone stole or cheated. She just says what she gave, where it went, and what she ended up with. And what she ended up with. Not nearly as much as she put in. That's where the proof comes in, not paper stuff. Not bank papers waving around, but years of giving without getting much back. She talks about helping the family, working toward goals they shared, trusting that things would be fair. But now, she sees that wasn't true. What makes this so strong is that she's not mad about it anymore. She's not surprised anymore, either. People always said Janelle was strong on her own, no drama. Easy to get along with. She didn't need a lot of attention, which worked out great for everyone else, but not for her. If you don't complain, people think you're okay. If you don't ask for much, people think you don't need it. If you keep going, people think you always will, and that's what happened. Janelle carried a heavy load quietly. She thought things would even out, but instead, her strength became something others took for granted, without thinking about how hard it was on her. This session is when she finally puts that load down. Janelle's proof is so powerful because she shows it without getting emotional. No crying, no yelling, no big pauses, just how things were. And that's unnerving. Kody and Robyn don't know how to react. Not because they don't get what she's saying, but because they do. There's no clear lie to call out, no big story to dismiss. Just a quiet feeling that Janelle's story matches what viewers have seen for years. That's when you stop wanting to deny it. Even for the audience, because when someone calmly talks about why they're done, you can't pretend they're the bad guy. One of the strongest parts of Session 2 is what Janelle doesn't say. She doesn't want the money back. She doesn't want them to admit they were wrong. She doesn't want an apology. That silence says it all. She's not trying to work things out. She's not hoping things will be fair. She's accepted what happened. And that's the last step before letting go. This isn't about getting something back anymore. It's about not giving any more. As Janelle talks, Kody gets nervous. He's not yelling, but he's getting defensive. He wants to argue but knows he can't. Robyn just seems confused. She hears the words, but she doesn't seem to get it. And that's when you see something important. They're not reacting to what Janelle's saying. They're reacting to how it makes them feel. And that's a big difference. Janelle is talking about what happened to her. They're reacting because they're uncomfortable. This session shows it clearly. Janelle has figured everything out, not just money, but feelings too. She's added up what she gave versus what she got back, the loyalty she showed versus the support she felt, all the patience versus the nothing that ever changed. And the answer is clear. She stayed too long. She gave too much. And now she's choosing herself. That didn't just happen. It was years of small realizations, little disappointments, promises that weren't kept. Session 2 is just the moment when it all becomes clear. Before now, viewers could argue about why people did things. They could see things differently. They could pick sides based on feelings, but Session 2 takes feelings out of it. This is about facts. How things were and what happened, and when those three things match up, the truth is hard to ignore. Janelle isn't making things up. She's telling things as they were. She's not bitter, she's clear. And clarity is scary to anyone who's still making excuses. By the end of Session 2, it's obvious. Janelle didn't let go because she was angry. She let go because she understood. She understood that being loyal when it's not returned is hurting yourself. She understood that helping without getting security, it's wrong. She understood that staying quiet doesn't help, it makes you disappear. This session isn't loud, but you'll remember it because once you know the truth, you can't forget it. And from now on, Janelle's not trying to get anyone to understand why she left. She's just moving on. Lighter, clearer, and finally free. Session 2 doesn't end with everything solved. It ends with her knowing what she wants, and that changes everything. Okay. Here's a rewrite of the text, aiming for a more human and less AI-sounding voice. What's striking in Session 3 is how Kody and Robyn don't deny what happened, but they twist the meaning. They mess with the context and rewrite history. They nitpick about tone instead of dealing with what's actually being said. It's like they can't argue with the facts, but they still won't accept them. That's how denial looks. Kody's anger is right there under the surface. He talks fast. But it doesn't make sense. He mentions loyalty, respect, and how things should have gone. But he never takes responsibility. He never just says, I messed up. Instead, he blames the situation, misunderstandings, or other people for the problems. It's the same old story with him, and it's so obvious this time. It's clear that Kody isn't really arguing with Janelle. He's mad about losing control for years, plural. Marriage gave him all the power. Even when things were rocky, the system kept everyone in line, but now, Janelle is leaving that behind, not in an angry or dramatic way, but she's made up her mind. Kody doesn't know what to do when he can't push someone into a corner emotionally. His problem isn't money or communication. It's that he's losing his grip on power. That's why he sounds like he's reacting instead of thinking things through. He's trying to get back on top of a conversation that isn't about him anymore. Robyn is quieter in this session, but it tells us just as much. She keeps saying she's confused. I don't get it. I don't know how this happened. This isn't what I wanted. It sounds emotional, even vulnerable. At first. But viewers know that confusion can be a way to avoid responsibility. If you don't understand, you don't have to answer. If you're confused, you don't have to explain. If everything's unclear, it's not your fault. That's how Robyn plays it in session 3. She listens, but it doesn't sink in. She reacts, but she doesn't stop to think. It's the same pattern again. What's most annoying and telling is how Kody and Robyn avoid what Janelle is really saying. Janelle isn't attacking them. She's not asking for pity. She's not demanding anything. She's explaining why she's done, but instead of dealing with that, Kody and Robyn talk about how her decision makes them feel, how it affects them, how it makes them uncomfortable. That's a big deal. It turns Janelle's experience into a problem for them, instead of seeing it as the result of their actions. And then it's easy to just deny everything. Longtime viewers will feel like they've seen this before. Kody acts like he had no idea, like Janelle's unhappiness came out of nowhere and the breakup was a surprise. But the audience remembers. They remember the talks, they remember the warnings, they remember the compromises. That didn't go both ways. So when Kody says he doesn't understand how things got this bad, it doesn't feel real. It feels like he's only remembering what he wants to. He's denying the truth by rewriting the past. That only works if nobody remembers what really happened, luckily for us. But not him. Sister Wives has been filming this family for years. As session 3 goes on, things get more tense, not because they're yelling, but because they stop listening. Kody gets defensive, Robyn shuts down. And then Janelle stops trying to explain. She answers questions briefly. She doesn't try to get them to understand or soften the blow. It's clear that she's not trying to fix things anymore. She's just confirming her decision. Janelle knows what she's doing. This session just proves that she's right to leave. One of the big things in session 3 is how Kody and Robyn confuse being hurt with being responsible. They're clearly hurting, that's real. But instead of asking why, they try to protect themselves from that hurt. Their pain becomes an excuse, they get defensive, and nobody takes responsibility. Here's the tough truth, being hurt doesn't mean you didn't cause harm. Janelle gets it. Kody and Robyn don't. That's the gap that finally breaks the family. Session 3 shows how much safer it feels to deny the truth, especially when the truth means you have to change. If Kody admits he's wrong, he has to deal with his patterns. If Robyn admits reality, she has to accept her part in it. That's scary. So instead, they deny, avoid, and retreat, not because they don't know the truth, but because they can't face it. There's a moment in this session where you start to feel bad for Janelle instead of Kody and Robyn. It's not because Kody or Robyn are evil. It's because they won't grow. Janelle stands her ground, while they just go in circles. And eventually, those circles look like they're avoiding the problem. Viewers realize that this isn't a misunderstanding. It's a refusal. By the end of session 3, the door is closed, not slammed or locked, just shut. Kody and Robyn are stuck defending themselves, and Cantor won't reflect on what happened. By doing that, they isolate themselves. Denial doesn't save relationships. It saves your ego. And ego can't make connections. As this session ends, one thing is clear, Janelle has moved on. Kody and Robyn are stuck. That makes all the difference. This isn't a fight that time can fix. It's a divide made by one person growing and the others refusing. It's sad. It shows how relationships end, not with a bang, but when people choose denial over truth until there's nothing left. From now on, the question isn't if Janelle made the right choice. It's how long they can keep denying reality when reality has already won. TV often shows dramatic exits with yelling, crying, and door slamming. But session 4 is different. Janelle doesn't do any of that. She just leaves, and honestly, that's more impactful than any big fight. She's calm now, not in a blank way, but in a way that shows she already dealt with the sadness. She's not upset. Right now, she was upset a long time ago. This isn't sadness we're seeing. It's acceptance. It's striking how peaceful Janelle seems compared to Kody, who's restless, and Robyn, who's uneasy. The air is thick with tension, but Janelle isn't part of it anymore. She's crossed a line emotionally. She's not wondering if things can be fixed. She's wondering why she stayed so long. And once you ask that, you've already made up your mind. Her words aren't heavy. They're simple, clear, and final. That easy feeling isn't from winning, it's from choosing herself. She stops trying to explain how she feels, defend what she thinks, or get others to understand her. Not because she doesn't care, but because she finally gets that some people just can't understand where she's coming from. When you accept that, you stop looking for approval from those people. Janelle's strength isn't aggressive, it's steady. She knows what she knows and doesn't need anyone's permission to act on it. That quiet confidence says more than any argument. For ages, Janelle thought leaving was failure to her family, her beliefs, and her promise. Session 4 breaks that belief. It's not failure we see. We see a woman refusing to give up on herself. Staying in a bad situation isn't being loyal. It's losing yourself. Janelle finally sees that. She didn't just leave the marriage, she grew past it. And to those who don't grow with you, growth looks like loss. There's a shift in this session. The power changes. Kody can't decide who stays and who goes anymore. Robyn isn't the center of attention. Janelle's choice takes away their control over her. That's unsettling because things only work when everyone plays their part. Janelle doesn't. She doesn't fight for control, demand answers, or argue. She just removes herself. And that's the ultimate power move for viewers. Janelle's calm is emotional because we're used to women leaving only when they're pushed to their limit, but Janelle looks steady. She looks resolved. That means she wasn't driven away in anger. She left after years of thought. This wasn't sudden. It was going to happen anyway. Is also about freedom, not just from a marriage, but from a role. Janelle was always the responsible one. The one you could depend on, the one who didn't need much. That took a toll. She carried weight that no one noticed because she did it quietly. She made sacrifices that were overlooked because she never asked for attention, not in a showy way. Not angrily. Just with a clear decision, and once she puts something down, she doesn't pick it back up. Some might wonder if this is just space, distance, or a phase, not because of what Janelle says, but how she says it. There's no maybe someday. If things change, or we'll see, she's talking about now with certainty. She's not testing the waters. She's already moved on. Walking away quietly is braver than walking away loudly. It means you're not trying to prove anything. It means you've accepted that not everyone will understand. It means you're okay being seen as the bad guy. If it means you're happy, Janelle isn't asking for support from anyone. She simply does what's right for her. And that's why this session means so much. For those watching, session 4 may be relatable. It's not just about a plural marriage, it's about relationships, where one person does all the work. All the compromise, all the waiting, and then one day, they just stop. Not in anger, but to respect themselves. That's what Janelle shows here, just quiet. But it's powerful quiet. It's the sound of someone finally being free. Janelle doesn't need to announce her freedom. You can see it in how she stands, hear it in her voice. Feel it in how she's not carrying the weight of the room on her shoulders. This is the quiet power of walking away, and once someone gets here, there's no turning back. Session 4 closes a chapter forever. Janelle finally gets her life back. For ages, sister wives ran on a dream that plural marriage, though tough, could be fair, equal, and based on respect. That dream slowly broke, but in episode 10, it finally shatters. Not with yelling, not with a mess, but with things getting real. Janelle leaving shows the truth everyone dodged. The setup only worked when some folks gave up more than others, and when one of those folks stops giving things up, the whole thing falls apart. This episode doesn't kill plural marriage as a thought. It kills the version that needed silence to live. Janelle leaving isn't just about her, it means something. She's like the family's backbone, the planner, the moneymaker, the one who thought they all shared the load. When someone like that leaves, it says a lot. The issue wasn't trying hard. The issue was things weren't balanced. Her leaving proves what many watching thought but didn't see so clearly. That loyalty was wanted but not given back as much, and once that's out there, you can't hide it. It's obvious where things are at. This episode isn't just about Janelle leaving. It's about Kody and Robyn staying the same. The fact that they don't see it cuts them off, not just from Janelle but from the fans. Viewers know where the problem is. The patterns are clear. They won't think about it. That's why people stop caring. Not because they don't feel bad, but because getting better is important. This episode shows what happens when only one person grows. Quietly answers something fans have wondered for years. What if no one is ever held responsible? The answer is easy and sad. People leave, not fast. Not in a big way, but for good. Not facing the music doesn't stop time. It doesn't save things, it just pushes back when things hit the fan. In episode 10. Those things finally do steady, calm, and unstoppable. Many Sister Wives episodes end without solving anything. Cliffhangers, talks left for later, not this one instead. It leaves fans with a feeling that it's over. Not because everything's done but because something big changed. Janelle isn't waiting anymore. Kody isn't in charge anymore. Robyn isn't misunderstood anymore. The parts they played on the show don't work anymore. That's why you remember this episode. Also shows how fans will watch the show now. Viewers aren't asking, can this family be saved? They're asking, why did it last so long? That's a big change once viewers stop hoping they'll get back together. The story's about what happens after, not fixing things. Episode 10 sets that up perfectly. For seasons, being strong on Sister Wives meant sticking it out, staying, giving, in dealing with it for the sake of family. Session 5 changes that. Being strong isn't about how much you can handle. It's about knowing when dealing with it hurts you. Janelle's leaving says that leaving isn't weak. Instead, it shows that sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away from something that doesn't treat you right. That means a lot outside this show. Looking ahead, season 18. Episode 10 makes the show different. The story can't be about keeping the family together because that family is gone. Now, it's about what it looks like when someone won't admit they're wrong when there's no one to blame. What getting better looks like when you're alone. What starting over looks like after the dream is gone. This episode doesn't just end a chapter. It changes the kind of show it is. The question you can't avoid draws to a close. One question is left not said, but if things are now real, how long can they keep pretending? Because pretending needs people to agree. It needs quiet. It needs people to stay. With Janelle gone, that agreement's done. Season 18, episode 10 will be remembered not for a fight, but for realizing things. When one woman being clear about things showed years of bad balance, when not admitting you're wrong was clearer than the truth. When viewers stopped waiting for things to change and started seeing what happens after. That doesn't happen much on reality TV, that's why it's important. Doesn't end with a fight. It ends with understanding. Understanding that things don't fall apart when people leave, they fall apart when people stop faking it. Understanding that putting off being responsible is the same as never being responsible. Understanding that once someone picks real over fake, there's no going back. This episode isn't the end of Sister Wives, but it's the end of pretending. From now on, every scene, every talk, everything they do will be judged by one thing.